This is Majindran, Assistant Professor, Information Technology at St. Joseph's Institute of Technology, Chennai. Today we will discuss the topic describing data. Okay, what in this describing data? In the unit it contains the topics of types of data, types of variables, describing data with tables and graphs, describing data with averages, describing variability, normal distribution and standard scores. Okay, first topic. What is data? Data is nothing but it's your raw information. What is describing data? Describing data is nothing but data can be that describing data is the essential step for analyze the data. Okay, analyze and summarize and explore the characteristics of data. Okay, that is called describing data, which means we are collecting the data from the various resources. Now we can analyze the data. The data is quality, work or not. The data is useful or not. The data is organized or not. That is the correct data or wrong data. Now we are analyzing data. After that, we can performing the operations. That is describing data. What is the use of describing data? It helps to understanding and distribution, trends and patterns of presence in the data. Now we can check the understand the distributions, trend and patterns are presented or not. That is the data. What are the types of data? Data is a collection of facts and figures relate something specific. Data is not organized any way. In the data can be numbers or measurement or observation or just in descriptions of text. That is called data. That is the types of data. Okay. Data sets, collections of related record, related information is called data sets. For example, here now we are collecting the data. In the data, it contains the uh, n numbers of information. So in the data, it will be stored on the one format. For example, I want to collect. I collected some data that is stored in the one table. In the table, it contains the attributes and objects. For example, here serial number, name, here age and gender. Now in the data it contains here I collected the information. In that information it contains the serial number, name, age and gender. That is the four data are collected. Okay, so each set data is collected related records or information. For example, here 1, 2 and 3. That is the serial number X, Y and Z. Okay, his age is 6, 7 and 9. So okay, male, female and male. Okay, now I got the data. In the data it contains can be missed, can be or not or missed. The data can be either in different descriptive data type or continuous data or data is measurements or numbers or measurement, everything it will be there. So data is collections of latest records or information. The information may be some entity or object in the data. Okay, collections of data, objects and collections of data, objects and their attributes. What is objects and their attributes? Name, age and gender. It's the attributes. Collections, for example, X is an object. In the X object, it will have six ages, gender is male. That is attributes. Okay. For example, dog. Dog is one of the object. What is the attribute for dog? Dog will bark. Dog will fight. Dog will jump. That is the attributes of dog. Dog color is in brown and white, black and white. That is the attributes. Okay. Each row of data is called record. So here first data is record, second data is record, and third data is also called record. Each data has multiple attributes. Okay, first record. Each and every data set is also has a multiple attributes. Multiple attributes in the sense in the data it contains the name is one of the attribute, age is the attribute, gender is the attribute. That is the different types of each data set has the multiple attributes that gives the specific information or characteristics. Okay. Data can be divided two types. One is qualitative data, another one is quantitative data. What is qualitative data? Quantitative data is also divided two types. One is nominal, another is ordinal. Quantitative data is also divided interval and ratio. What is qualitative data? Qualitative data we can't measure the numerical value. We can't express by number. Qualitative data provides information about the quality or object or information cannot be measured. For example, apple is sweet. Okay, in the classroom contains boys and girls. That is the qualitative data. The students studied well. That is also qualitative data. Okay, here we can't measure, we can describe, we can provide the information. That is the qualitative data. Quality data, I already told, qualitative data cannot be expressed by number. The apple is sweet, but we can feel the taste, but we can't measure the taste. That is the difference between qualitative data and quantitative data. Data that represents nominal scales such as gender or economic. That is the example for or qualitative data. Okay. In this qualitative data, can data concerned with description, which can be observed, cannot be computed. I already told we can feel the taste, we can't measure. That is the example for qualitative data. Qualitative data concerned with description, which can be observed but cannot be computed. Okay. I should divide the two types, nominal and ordinal. What is nominal? Nominal is the thing, but categories with no specific order. Nominal data in the sense we can categorize the data, we can arrange the data, but we can't measure the specific order. For example, male or gender or taste or fruits. We can arrange the order, we can categorize. Um, Gender is a category, male or female. We can't measure. Gender is male is high, female is low, female is high. We can't measure. That is one of the qualitative data. Ordinal data, categories with meaningful order, but without fixed interval, without fixed difference. Now we can arrange in the categorical order. We can't measure. We can't without a fixed difference. He is a first rank. He is third rank. He is fourth rank. He is economically wealthy. He is poor. He is middle class. Now we can categories with a meaningful order, but without fixed difference. Here we can't measure the values. That is called qualitative data. Quantitative data. What is quantitative? I already told qualitative data we can't measure, but quantitative data we can measure. We can compute. We can apply any mathematical algorithm. Okay, calculation is also we can possible to do. Quantitative data or anything that can be expressed number or qualified. Okay, here we can calculate that a basket contains 10 apples. Now we can count. Okay, but we can't measure the apple taste. That is qualitative data. In this quantitative data, basket A contains 10 apples. Basket B contains 10 oranges. So we can measure, we can calculate it, we can compute it. Basket C contains 5 apples, 5 oranges, 10 apples. Now we can measure. Now we can calculate it. That's quantitative data. In this quantitative data, it's two types. One is interval data, another one is ratio data. Okay. Scale of measurement. In the any scale, any measurement, we can use the Stevens scale method. Stevens scale method is mainly used to measure the scale, measure the data. Like four types of data we know. One is nominal data, ordinal data, interval data, and ratio data. Nominal data and ordinal data it belongs from the qualitative data. Ordinal interval data and ratio data it belongs from the quantitative data. First, we will discuss the topic ranked data or ordinal data. Ordinal data is also called ranked data. Okay, here what's ordinal data? I already told ordinal data we can categorize with a meaningful order, but without fixed difference. Without fixed difference in the sense now we can arrange in the order, but we can't measure. We can't fix difference. Okay, that is called ranked data or ordinal data. Okay, ordinal data is also called ranked data. For example, it's university ranking. Example for it's a first rank, it's a ninth rank. But here we can have the categories order. University rank holder, first rank, first and two and third. That is the rank holder difference. Socio-economic status is poor, he is middle class, he is rich. That is also one of the ranked data. Ordinal data is a first level of measurement scale. It means numbers, so takes, labels, classify, or identify. Here we can categorize with but without order. Okay. For example, gender, male or female, hair color, brown, black, and blonde. We can mention, but we can't. We categorize without order. We can't mention any order. Okay, that is called nominal data. Interval data. Interval data is corresponds to variable. This was chosen from the interval sets. Interval sets in the sense that for continuous variable, continuous data. A bus passes number of buses passed from 10 to 11. So particular time limit, 11 buses crashed, 10 buses passed. That is the interval data. It's defined to quantitative measured scale, which difference between the two variables in meaningful. That is called interval. For example, Celsius temperature, Fahrenheit temperature, or clock, or with hands, clock with hands. That is called interval data. Okay. Next thing is ratio. Ratio is nothing but any variable for which the ratio can be computed and meaningful is called ratio. It's a type of measurement variable. Okay. It's compare the difference and for example, 1 is to 3, 2 is to 5, 5 is to 7. That is the ratio between the two variables. For examples for the Stevens scale method. For example, we know the Stevens scale method. What are the contents is the nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio. So, for example, here, ethnic group. Ethnic group is here one of the qualitative data. Here, we can't measure, but we can categorize, arrange in the order. Academic measure. Academic measure is also one of the qualitative data. BSc, BCA, BE, VC, computer science engineering. Wait, that is the academic measure. Here, we can't measure. It's a qualitative data on age. Age is a quantitative data. He is 5 years old. He is 10 years old. That is the measured. Family size. Family size is also one of the quantitative data. How a family contains 5 persons, a family contains 6 persons. That is also quantitative data. Net worth in rupees. Net worth is also one of the quantitative data. A man having 500 rupees, the person having 1 lakh. That is the net worth. His total assets are 15 crores, 5 crores. That is the assets. That is one of the quantitative data. Temperature. Temperature is a qualitative data, quantitative data. It belongs from the interval scale. Okay. For example, for today morning 8 o'clock, his temperature, the room temperature is 20 degrees. 12 o'clock, 15 degrees. 1 o'clock, it's 70 degrees. Here we can measure the temperature. Sexual preference is male or female. That is belongs from the qualitative data. Second place, that is also one of the ordinal data. It's also qualitative data. IQ score. It belongs from the quantitative data. His IQ score is 500, 90, 70. So we can measure gender. It's also one of the qualitative data. It's the ordinal data. Advantages and disadvantages of qualitative data. What are the advantages and disadvantages of qualitative data? We know qualitative data in the sense we can't measure, we can observe, we can analyze, we can understand, we can arrange in the order, we can categorize. That is the qualitative data. Okay. What are the advantages? It helps to depth analysis. Apple is red, apple is green, apple is light green. So here we can analyze apple is rounded shape, apple is taste is sweet taste, apple is round, which are different types of apples. There are Kashmir apple, Shimla apple. That is analyzed for the data. Avoid the prejudgments. So avoid the prejudgment in the sense, I daily eat apple, it's good for health. Daily eat banana, it's good for health. Now we can't if you eat only apple, you'll get taller, stronger, brighter. No, it's difficult. So that is avoid prejudgments. Qualitative data, it helps to the market researchers to understand the mindset of the customers. How the mindset of the customers? Any example? Yeah, example is the if you on grocery stores it contains Boost, Horlicks, and Bonvita. So different types of supplement is there. Which one is best for our health? They're making the advertisement. If you drink Horlicks, you feel taller, stronger, and sharper. So if the market researchers to understand the mind, if one person, one height person, one strongest person, one taller person is advertisement is showing that you're drinking the Complan or boost order, the uh, customers will be accepted the advertisement. That is the advantages of the qualitative data. Disadvantage is time consuming, not easy to generalize. It's difficult to systematic comparison. We can't do anything. Advantages and disadvantages of quantitative data. Yeah, quantitative data advantage easier to summarize and make it comparison, easier to obtain the large sample size. Okay, it's less time consuming. A basic statistical analysis. Easy to summarize and make comparison. A basket contains 10 apples. A basket contains 10 oranges. Basket C contains 5 apples, 5 orange, 5 bananas. So now we can easily summarize. We can easily comparison. That is the advantages. It's easy to obtain the large sample size. Okay, you can easily do less time consuming to sense the base statistical. So in the statistical analysis, we can apply the mean median mode. And disadvantages is cost is relatively high. It's not accurate to generalization. The researchers received. Next topic, types of variable. What's variable? Variable is nothing but it's stored. Variable is a container that is mainly used to store the value. For example, a equal to 5. 5 value will be stored the variable of a. So that is called variable. Okay. Variable is a characteristic or property. They can take different values. Okay. Variable in the sense it will be various. It's a constant. Quantitative variables can be further distinguished the whether discrete or continuous variable. Quantitative variable in the sense we can measure the number from numerical form, that is called quantitative variable. Okay, first there are different types of variables in the unit. Discrete variable, continuous variable, observational study, approximate number, independent variable, dependent variable, and confounding variable. Okay, first variable is discrete variable. What is discrete variable? Discrete variable is nothing but it is a countable. Discrete means countable. Discrete data can only take certain individual values. Certain individual values in the sense, yeah, man have a 5 pence, a man have a 6 pence. That is the individual element. That is we can easily compute, we can easily calculate. A book contains 15 pages. That we can easily calculate. Continuous variable. Continuous variable is nothing but it's also variable. Can take all values within the given interval range. Okay. A continuous data can take of any value in certain range. Any certain range in the sense. A bus in from source A to B. The time 10 to 11 o'clock. 5 buses was crashed. 10 buses was crashed. Now we can measure the in terms of certain interval range. Okay, continuous data can take any value in certain range. For his blood pressure, today morning they measure the blood pressure is 70. Next day 90. Or today morning 8 o'clock they measure the blood pressure is 70. 9 o'clock 80. 10 o'clock 95. So it will be changed. It will be where it will be measured the certain range. That is called continuous variable. Okay, discrete difference between discrete variable and continuous variable. Discrete data is counted. Continuous data is measured. Okay, discrete data can certain individual elements. You can see the individual elements. Continuous data can take any value in the certain range. That is the difference between discrete and continuous. Example: number of pages in books in discrete variable. Length of file is a continuous variable. Okay. Next, approximate number. What is approximate number? Approximate number is also number that is approximated to the exact number. 3.3333. It's an approximate number, which means 10 divided by 3. We didn't get the exact number. We didn't get the decimal number. We got the floating value. That is called approximated number. Okay, it's approximate. It's the difference between exact and approximate numbers. Okay, for example, 249 is the exact number. Do not need any approximation. Here we can say any approximation. No, it's the exact number. But 10 divided by 3, we can tell any exact number. We can't. Which means 10 divided by 3, we got 3.3333 something. Which means 3.33 is approximate number. Another example, root of 2, pi. Root of that is the approximate. We can't express the finite digit. We can decimal number. We can't put the integer value. That is also one of the approximate numbers. Okay, approximate numbers. Whenever the value is rounded off, the case actual value is continuous variable. Okay, approximate number doesn't have the uncertainty. Can be approximate two reasons. The approximate number we're getting the two reasons. First reason is can be the result of measurement. Result of measurement in the sense I already told. Approximate number is measured from the continuous variable for square root of 3, square root of 4, square root of 5. For example, a bus passes from here to there, it will take 5 minutes, 10 hours 5 minutes, 10, 12 hours 16 minutes. So 12, 5 hours 11 minutes. So here we can't measure the exact number. A train crashed from source A to destination. It arrived at the started from the point A, reached from that point B. To have 5 kilometers, it will be reached 10 minutes or 5 minutes, or 5.5 minutes, 5.8 minutes. We can't measure exact minutes. That is called approximate number. That is the number can be result of measurement. Certain number, it simply cannot be written in the exact decimal form. 10 divided by 3. We got the output is 3.3. That is called approximated number. Next topic is a observational study. Observational study is a researcher's method. Researchers observe the subjects in the natural environment without interfering or manipulating any variable. Okay, that is called observational study. Observational study is nothing but researchers research and get observe the outputs. Depends on the natural. That is called observational study. Okay, what are the effects? No manipulation. Researchers do not change any variable. Okay, that real world setting subjects are studied in the natural. They can observe anywhere, classrooms, hospital, places, in classrooms, in chemistry classrooms, physics classrooms, or math classrooms. We can observe the output. That is observed classrooms. They measure the blood pressure, sugar levels, BP, everything we can measure. That is the real world setting. Cause and effect. Researchers don't control the variables. It cannot be established direct cause and relationship effect. Ethical and practical benefits. Useful when experiments would be unethical or impractical. Okay, studying smoking effects on health. So that is the example. Okay, what are the effects observation study? Does screen time affect the children's sleep pattern? If more children are using mobile phone, his sleep was affected. Yes. How they will observe? First question is hours of screening time. The screening time first. Child has using mobile phone daily. No, we can measure the hours of screening time. Then we can measure the sleep duration. If screen time will be increased, the sleep time will be reduced. That is also observation. That is observation study. Next topic is independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variable is a variable that is changed or controlled. It's a scientific experiment to test the dependent variable. Independent variable is a variable. That variable is used to change or control the scientific experiment to test the dependent variable. That is called independent variable. Okay, independent variable is tested to the dependent variable. Okay, independent variable is a variable that represents the quantity that is manipulated by experiment. Researchers can be manipulated to the experiment. That is called independent variable. Okay, researchers only can control or change the variable. Independent variable is a mathematical terms. They denoted as x. Okay, the independent variable is also called explanatory variables, manipulated variables, or controlled variables. In the graph, we can denote as a plotted in x-axis. Dependent variable is a variable that being tested and measured the scientific experiment. So, independent variable is you measured or test or control the dependent variable. So, okay, dependent variable is a dependent variable on the independent variable. The dependent variable is always dependent to the independent variable. Okay, experimenter changes the independent variable. The effect on the dependent variable is also. The mathematical term dependent variable is also denoted in y. Okay, dependent variable is also term measured variable or responding variable or explained variable. Okay, in a graph that is plotted in y-axis. For example, does the amount of water affect plant growth? Yes, definitely it will be affect the growth, which means here independent variable is water. Researchers will be pour the water daily. The researchers 100 ml daily pour, the plant will be grown. Daily they pour at 200 ml, the leaf and the plant height will be increased. The researchers daily pour the 5 liters of the water, this plant will be affected. That is also dependent variable. Dependent variable, it's dependent on the water. The water level only is the ground floor plant is a dependent variable, height, number of leaves, etc. That is observed and measured. Okay. For example, now we can draw already told it's a example graph. Dependent variable in the okay. Here dependent variable in denoted as y-axis, independent variable is denoted as x-axis. So here 100 ml water, 200. Here the height is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter. It will be depends on the x-axis. If daily 400 ml, the plant will be growth 2 centimeter. If for daily 200 ml, the growth will be the 4 centimeter. That is the independent variable and dependent variable. Okay, that is the dependent on the water level. Okay. Last topic is here confounding variable. What is confounding variable? Confounding is nothing but that is the confounding is confused. Okay. Confounding variable is also variable, that is extra variable, that is affected both dependent variable and dependent variable. It's making too difficult to determine the true cause and relationship. Which means dependent variable to test the dependent variable, independent variable to test the dependent variable dependent to the independent variable. Okay, but confounding variable is extra variable that is affected to the both dependent and independent. It's difficult to getting the true cause and effect of the relationship. Okay, what are the effects on corresponding variable? False association. Takes the relationship. The relationship that is marking if it hide the actual relationship between the dependent variable and independent variable. Misinterpretation. It leads to incorrect solution, incorrect conclusion. That is the independent confounding variable. For example, that exercise lead to weight loss. If you do a daily exercise, your weight will be reduced. So here, first we can measure the independent variable daily exercise for 1 hour, 2 or 3 hours. It's independent variable. Dependent variable is weight loss. If daily 2 hours, his weight will be reduced 100 gram. If a daily if daily 2 hours, the weight will be reduced 10 grams. If daily practice is 3 hours, weight will be reduced daily 15 to 20 grams. That is the independent and dependent variable. Okay. Here we can add the confounding variable diet, healthy diet. That is the confounding variable. Okay. If weight loss observed for 1 month, I continuously practice in daily exercise and proper diet. My weight was reduced. That time diet is a confounding variable. Here I got confused. If daily reduced, that's only weight was decreased. Or daily follow the proper diet, healthy diet, that's only my weight was reduced. That is the confounding variable. Okay. Researchers should not control for diet. Okay, the solution researchers should control for diet by ensuring all participants. So they're getting the some doubts. So that's only the same meal plan suggested to the customers. That is the confounding variable. Okay. Thank you, students. Today we will discuss the topic describing data. What is data? What is describing data? What are types of data? Describing data means its essential steps. We can recap the content. Today we discuss the topic is describing data, types of variables. Describing data means its essential data. Essential step for analyze the data. The types is qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative have a ordinal and nominal. Quantitative have a interval and ratio. Next topic variable. Variable is used to store the value. There are different types of variables we discussed. What are the variables? Discrete variable, continuous variable, observational study, approximate number, independent variable, dependent variable, and confounding variable. Thank you, students. If you have any doubt or query, kindly let me know. Thank you. Thank you, students.